You're now tuned in to Sold in 60. It's your host, Richie Rich, and my boy, Down Payment Dillan. Today, we got a special guest in the building. This guy's been in the ring, doing his thing heavy. I call him Junaid the Butcher. We're going to tap in and understand his mindset, where he's been. This is Sold in 60. This is where you learn about the timeshare industry. This is where you get the back story. And if you haven't been in the industry, you're going to learn what to expect, how to level up, how to grow. Today's sponsor is Factual Film Studio. Factual Film Studio is a location where you can make your own podcast just like this one, where you can do headshots. You can do whatever you want to do. Create content for social media, shoot a movie, whatever. But Factual Film Studio is our sponsor. They can be reached by the link in our bio on our Instagram page. Their address is 8865 Commodity Circle, Suite 7B. Contact Factual Film Studio. Dylan, what's up, my guy?
And we back just like that. Episode 30. We're in the building. Welcome, man. I'm glad. I heard we have a heavy hitter coming in here today, man. I'm glad to sit down, hear from him, learn a few things, man. Tell us a little bit about, where you're from and how you got into the industry.
Heavy hitter was the way that was a nice segue.
I like that, so I appreciate that. I started in 2017. I sold cars. I used to work at a car dealer, Hyundai, actually. You know what I mean? I remember being on the corner of the street, right? Because you know the whole vibe when it comes to a car dealership. You drive up, you look up, and you see like someone in the corner waiting for you to just doing this.
Yeah, I hate that.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Hey, but it is what it is because that's what you had to do. You know what I mean? Because it was either you or the person behind you.
Correct.
So I remember doing that one night, and there was one guy I sold a car to, and he worked over at Wyndham, right? Mm-hmm. And this is when I was my girlfriend at the time, not my wife, right? I would work 9 to 9 every day, and the thing about the car industry, it's like every day you work, it's like it's just about the next car. Mm. So if you're not where you need to be, you got to come in on your day off. So you really never had a day off because the managers would make sure you're not where you need to be. So you got to come into work. So it'd be like 60 hours a week. But long story short, the person came in. I showed him a Genesis, right? And he was getting it for his wife. And I asked him what he did. And he said he sold timeshare. I'm like, timeshare? What's timeshare? What's this timeshare? I don't know what's going on with this timeshare. And he was like, oh, yeah, this timeshare, I work at Wyndham. And then he was like, yeah, I work only like until 2 p.m. every day. I'm like, you work till 2 p.m.? You buying this Genesis cash? Like, it's a Genesis. Back then in 2014, I'm thinking that's like a $40,000, $50,000 car. You just dropping $50K. Like, all right. So what kind of degrees do you need for this? Oh, you don't need that many kind of degrees. I'm like, what? Okay, hold on. So when he's doing everything, I told him. So he didn't need to put his income on the loan app because he had great credit, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I said, hey, listen, the bank needs to know your income. You know what I mean? It's important. It's important for them to know. So he was, yeah. He put $450K. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. So you don't need. So tell me more. I'm open. I'm interested. Because I work day and night, 60 hours every week.
I heard.
You know what I mean? 60 hours every week just to make $70K. You know what I mean? I'm on the street corner. I'm listening to motivation, trying to get my numbers right. And he's in sales. I'm in sales. You don't need a degree. So he told me everything I needed to know. I literally the next week, I took vacation time, and I never take vacation time. Never take vacation time. My boss is like, you all right? What you mean I'm all right? I'm taking vacation time. Leave me alone. He's like, nah, you don't take vacation. I'm not allowed to take vacation time. But it's like, he's like, because he knew something like you don't take vacation time. Where you going? Yeah. I couldn't give him an answer because I didn't know I didn't have it set up where I was going. I went to Climber School of Real Estate. And boom, 2-week course, got my real estate license.
Get out of here.
And then right after that, in my head, I was like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I don't have a direction. I don't have a path, and I don't know. I had in my mind, I'm gonna work at Orange Lake because that's where I wanted to work at the time, right? When I first got into the industry.
Is that where the dude worked?
No, I was just doing research on who paid the most, right? I knew someone who worked there, so I was like, all right, that's where my mind. I don't know how I was gonna do it. I didn't have a plan of where I was going. Yeah. I just told myself, you know what? That's what's gonna happen. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna figure it out, right? And then it's funny because in the recruiting class, someone from Orange Lake came in. It was like manifest destiny. I was like, no way. This is where someone
came into the
training into Climber School of Real Estate.
Oh, wow.
A recruiter.
Wow.
So I got her name. I think her name. What was her name? She was Kenza.
Yeah, Kenza.
Yeah, she was in there, and I was like, dude, there's no way. I was thinking about this. Manifest destiny. You're here. This has to be words. It has to be spoken to me, right?
Shout out to Kenza. We need to get her up here.
Right.
Kenza, I heard her name before.
Yeah. So long story short, I get back to work. I told my boss, and you know, car dealerships, they're ruthless. I was cool with the GM. He's like, listen, I'm gonna fire you, but I gotta make it look good. And I was like, so can you play along? He was like, and I started cursing. I was like, you know what? Forget this place. He's like, that's why you need to do your leads, check your what is it? The software, call your not
CRM?
following your CRM. You need to call up the families. You didn't call them. You're fired. I'm like,
That's crazy.
yeah, I was cool with him, but he's like, yo, I gotta make a point. So if you're gonna quit, I might as well make it look good. Get the other sales rep.
Fired that guy because he wasn't doing the job, and any of you could be next.
Yeah. So 2 weeks later, I was dayline and I was working at Orange Lake. You know, yeah. So that was the beginning of the journey, and that was it after that.
So for the dayline at the Orange Lake, was you wearing suits?
Oh man, every day. That was the part. Like I didn't anticipate. Like that was, you know, I like to be casual, but I got used to it. It is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. So it was like, yeah, every day was suits. They had like the way they did the numbers. I know it was great. Like the whole, but the thing about dayline, right? The fact it's just everything felt like you have consistency because you're doing the same pitch every day. You know what I mean? And I just knew, I knew someone in the industry, Todd, right? And I was thinking to myself, damn, I see people in-house, right? And they're driving nice cars. They got a whole separate area. And I'm thinking to myself, ooh, that's where I want to be. And then it felt like, I'm not going to say it's an upgrade because I know a lot of people who do really well in dayline. But I just felt in my mind like that's where I want to be. I want to be in my mind, if it's an elite group, I want to be a part of it. And then I saw an opportunity in my mom, like just to gain the experience. Todd, he said, I know Rob Perot. And then I got in touch with Rob Perot. He's like, yeah, we got an in-house opportunity. I was like, oh man, this might be what I need to level up. And from then I went to Westgate, and it was, what was the word I'm looking for? That chapter was closed, and then I was at Westgate ever since.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So you went from a points-based system to a weeks-based system.
Yeah.
What would you say is the main difference between them, and does it even matter? Is it the same thing, or what would you say about that, points versus weeks?
I mean, to be honest, it's like I feel like when it comes to a points-based system, it gives you flexibility. You can maneuver a lot differently with the points-based system, but the way I figured it's who you sit with. Like where you get your information from. Because how I look at points and how much flexibility that had, when I started working at Westgate and the people that I sat with, some of the killers in there, they taught me a lot of different things that just, why would I want to be in points? You know what I mean? It just depends on how your outlook on it is. It's like, it doesn't have to be points is better than weeks or weeks is better than points. When I worked at Westgate, I knew I had to sell weeks. It wasn't like a negative thing for me because the people I sat with, they made weeks make sense.
Yeah.
So it was like, points is great, but then the downside of points can be inflation. What are your points worth in 10 years? But now I'm back working at points, so it's like, I have a lot of different, you know what I'm saying? I have
perspective.
It just, in an honest opinion, I would say that when it comes to what's, better or, the difference, it just depends on who you sit with, right? Like who you're working with, what industry you're working, because you're gonna make it the best, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We kind of just said that yesterday, right?
What happened?
The other day.
Oh yeah.
We were just saying that it's probably wherever you work is where it's the best, or whatever fits the customer. Whatever product you got, whatever fits the customer.
For sure.
Absolutely.
How was the training? How would you say the training is?
With what? Which one?
As far as just the timeshare training in general. Some trainings are 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month training.
Yeah. So I remember in 2017, oh my gosh. I love Michelle now, you know that, right? But before I didn't. Michelle, she was ready to fire me. I had Rob coming in there and telling me, listen, man, you gotta, I don't know if it was you, Rich, or Rob, but he was like, hey, listen, you gotta, next time you mess up, I don't know, I'm not gonna be able to help you.
So for context, for those that are watching and listening, Michelle that he's talking about was the VP of the training department that he's referring to.
Yeah, so she was like, she wasn't having it because it's like boot camp for 3 weeks. I know for a fact that I was studying like every day, like
Word for word.
I took some of my sister's Adderall prescription. Yeah, I was like, I had to, because had to memorize word for word, and I knew you guys weren't joking because when I was there, it was when classes were 30 people. So it was like it went down to like 17 people. So I was like, oh man, this is crazy. But no, I would say it was much needed because I think it's important for development. Because if you're on the floor thinking about what you need to say and you're not looking genuine, then it's like, what are you gonna do? Because now you're trying to find the right thing to say to the customer, and the customer's thinking like, you know what, this is way too scripted. You're just not natural. You know what I mean? You're not. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to put your little flavor to it, and if you're putting your flavor and your flavor sounds like a robot, then it's not what it needs to be.
So if someone out there right now is considering joining and get into the business of timeshare, and just like you, they're trying to do their research on what company should they join first. Now, with that being said, you have many different options, right?
Right.
Now, the first resort you went to, what was the training like over there?
The first resort, Orange Lake, it was just history, you know what I'm saying, getting the history down packed, but because it was a different pitch, it was like A through Z. I was working Dayline, so it was more foundation, fundamentals, anyways, money, you know, drilling that, you know, this is what you're gonna do in life regardless, you know what I mean, and then at the end, making it make sense to the fact that if you're gonna do this regardless, you might as well do it differently. You know what I mean? So, but then going to the owner's department, you have to be more of a chameleon. So, like, you can't use the same stuff on everybody. So you what I think owner's department does, and why I feel like in order to be successful in the owner's department, you got to be a chameleon. You know what I mean? If someone says someone makes some type of statement, you got to know how to react to that statement and change what you're doing based on what he says or she says. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So like, you know, it's just a different, like with A through Z, you just got to do that anyways, money every time.
For sure.
Know? And yeah, it comes down to the same scenario. You know, how can we make it affordable? But with owners, it's like you got to add. They're already making a payment. They already know they're making a payment. And if they're not already making a payment, what can I do emotionally? Because I'm not gonna lie. For me, I'm an emotional, like I'm not sensitive, but I feel like I'm more emotional than logic. You know what I mean? I throw a little bit of logic in there, but I like to make it more emotional. Like I try to level with people. That's my favorite word, level with people. Because if you can level with someone, I feel like, oh, okay, you're leveling with me. You're coming, yeah. Like I feel like you need this. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel like I was successful and how I lasted as long as I have. I'm still in the industry, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
But why I feel like I'm as successful in doing what I'm doing is because every time I talk to someone, they feel like I'm leveling with them.
Yeah.
You know, versus trying to sell them something.
So when you say you're more on the emotional side, give the viewers an example of what do you mean by that when you're saying you're more emotional than logic.
Well, like, okay, so I do a little story because I have my father. You can do a third party story too, but like for example, in the last 10 years, my dad's been a truck driver, and you know, it's one of those things like, you know, I hate to say it because my dad, he's everything to me, and my mom, like they've been together. There's no issues there's always issues in relationship, but like he's been away from the home for 10 years, right? He's been working as a truck driver, doing his thing, doing his loads, and he works day and night, and he's on the road, and he comes back. I'm not saying to be a stranger in his own home, but it might as well be a stranger in his own home. You know what I'm saying? Because like when he comes home, it's like, oh, dad's home, we gotta tighten up.
Right.
It's not like dad's home, I could just be the same because he knows how I am. It's like we gotta tighten up. Dad's home. You know, oh, he's leaving on Monday. You know, it's like he does what he needs to do, and then it's like he works super hard. You know, my thing is when I'm showing someone, I see kids and I see all this. You work so hard, you're making all this money, right? And this shit can go by just like that. You know what I mean? You gotta do something for your family. That because in Christmas you remember the gifts, you remember, you know, you don't remember. I tell you, you don't remember the gifts, you remember the experience.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what the kids remember. They remember what you did, not what you gave them. That's that's ultimately what I feel like, you know.
Yeah.
Without getting into all that, but that's just me being real. You know?
Sometimes you also want to remind the families, you know, especially if it's a family that, let's say they didn't vacation. Oh, we don't vacation. sometimes you want to find out, how their childhood was.
Yeah.
Did your parents take you out on vacations, and travel the world and let you, experience different things?
No, my parents worked all day and night. So you want to work all day and night?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You want to do that?
Yeah.
Break the chain.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Okay, I would say that I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Yeah, tell me you don't want to do that. I don't want you to do that.
I'm gonna show you how.
Right, that's like leveling with people. Right? You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
What we got to do so you don't have to do that.
Like
I
that.
don't know. It's just.
They do say what is the percentage? They say that sales is 90% emotions, 10% logic.
I would think because you can give everybody the facts, but listen. When I go, let me tell you something. When I was 18, 19, going to the club, I served food. I used to work at Cheddar's. I served food. I made money, and let's say I had like $500. I would go to Ross and buy the freshest fit. Probably use 20% of my weekly paycheck. Did I need to buy that? Did I need to spend 20%, 30% of my income to look fly and go? No, I wanted to because I wanted to look good.
Yeah.
Emotionally, I wanted to. I wanted something to I wanted to be out looking nice, looking fresh, because that's what made me happy.
Yeah.
And I can speak for a lot of people. They make decisions based on emotion, right? It's not you can make logic. Yeah, logically, I shouldn't have spent that money, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could say in the same scenario. I'm not saying right now, but there's been a point in your life where you're like, you know what, let me just do it,
Yeah. For sure.
Y'all ever been shopping and someone say you like trying on clothes and they say like that shirt looks nice on you, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Before
Because
you even have the shirt fully on.
I hate that shit.
Before you have the what?
Like, just saying, like, when they come to like, yo, that really looks good on you. Like, because they know the emotions drive the sale.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You talk about the person at the front, right?
Yeah.
The worker, the person that's trying to help you, trying to get the commission for you buying the joint, the one that
Yeah.
opened the fit room for you, you know what I'm saying?
What?
I hate when they say that because I know what they do.
Or they try to give you like a little critique, bro. Fix this real quick. Yeah, that's nice. That looks good.
Yeah. That's funny.
Keep that comment to yourself.
Emotions. Yeah. It's hard to sell salespeople because we have this defense, you know what I'm saying?
What? It's either the easiest or it's just, but yeah, you're right about the defense. It's like, especially, I think the defense comes when you're in places that you need the defense, like a car dealership, right? Right. That's one of those, even no matter what I know in car sales, it still always feels like they're getting one.
Yeah.
I never know if I'm getting a good deal.
So
I never know. But at the end of the day, I don't care, right? Because as long as you feel like you had a good deal, right?
For sure. So speaking of good deals, let's flip the script for a second. So you currently work in the in-house department?
Yep.
Okay, so what's your take, or how would you respond when families start coming in saying things like, let's just say it's an owner referral or something of that nature, right?
Owner referral.
Okay. They come in and they say, oh, why would I buy from you guys when I can go online and purchase it for cheaper? Basically, the resale market. What's your take on the resale market? Is it real? Is it fake? I see timeshares online for $5, $5,000, whatever the case may be. And I've also heard when you buy resale, you don't get the full benefits, but then some people say you do get the full benefits. So what's the word on the resale market in your opinion?
I would say, let me ask you this. Would you buy a house sight unseen?
No.
Right? You don't care. You just see bottom dollar, sight unseen. You just, let me buy it. That's the best way I can make an analogy for a timeshare buying on the resale market. Because at the end of the day, what do people are buying it for? What are they buying it for? The flexibility, right? If you're buying it for the flexibility for you to travel when you want to, how you want to, with all the benefits attached, why would you do something that would completely destroy that option? You know what I mean? That the ones that you see for sale on the resale market are usually those fixed weeks.
Old school timeshare.
Old school timeshares. You know what I'm saying? Anything that has the benefits of today, they're not selling for the cost of the fixed week.
Yeah.
Even I work at Marriott, so with me working at Marriott, it's like I see the resale market, and the owners are they're asking for it's not like $1. It's not they know what it's worth, because if you go to Westin Nanea in Hawaii, they're asking for $1,500 a night in the 2-bedroom. Yeah. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Not only that, some of these timeshares, I guess depending on the resort you work at, when you purchase the timeshare, that timeshare is specifically tailored and custom made for you,
Right.
you know, and how your family travels.
Right,
You know? So
exactly.
just buying another resale, it's like, okay, well, how do you know that's actually going to be
you.
exactly what you need to accomplish your dreams and where you want to go and things like that too?
And you know what's crazy? I was just talking about rental, right? That's another thing. Like there's not only one thing to tie in to make it make sense, right? Like the fact is, the rental market helps me just emphasize why it's such a positive scenario. You know what I mean? Like any type of thing that's already out there that suggests that it's a benefit for the person, it makes it to where you don't want something that restricts your usage. So like if you have the ability to rent and use, will, rent, sell, why would you jeopardize that when you could have something straight from the developer that'll give you all those opportunities to owning something that feels like a ball and chain?
Yeah.
You know, that's how I look at that. You know, but I say with like, you know, I people when they listen, when I'm talking to someone, like I said, I level with them. I'm like, you know, they're like, okay, that's genuine. That sounds like, yeah, well, you're right. I wouldn't do that. I don't want. That's not. Is it worth it to you to come on week 4? No, not week 14. That's a good week.
Yeah, so that's
That's a good week.
so for the others that listen, week 14 is a spring break.
Yeah.
Because we go out of the days in the
You got
calendar.
week 14. You might be able to do something.
Well, let me ask you this: you thank you for sharing, because you've had the opportunity to have different experiences at different resorts, being from Orange Lake to Westgate to Marriott. How does the clientele change in each resort?
So, you know, let me put it this way: Marriott has a different type of the way the people that are coming into tour, they have a different set of qualifications. They even during even the training, like when we were doing training for Marriott, they told us like a description reading, the average owner at Marriott is anywhere from 40 to 57 years old.
Oh, wow.
So it gives you like a consensus of who you're gonna tour,
Right.
like in the training. So you know, I'm not gonna when I worked at Westgate, because I was saying no ill saying with Westgate, because you know that was my bread and butter, and the type of families you would deal with are the ones that you know were looking for that affordable vacation.
Right.
You know what I mean? They were looking. They didn't want to spend, you know, $1,000 a night. You know, they're the average family, like the average family that's just trying to save money.
Yeah.
But those family, the average family wants to own something just as well. You know what I mean? Is not the average family actually wants it more than most.
Yeah.
The ones that have money, you got to talk.
They feel like they don't need it.
They don't. You gotta. You know. But that's why I'm blessed to have the knowledge and experience from where I worked before to take it with me to over there, because the takeaway is great. You know what I mean? It puts you in a place where you can really, you know, especially if you work with your craft is what I mean. You know?
Yeah, I feel like with the resorts, I look at them and I categorize them as Walmart, Publix, and Whole Foods.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that
That's
makes
funny.
sense. It is what it is.
But it's something for everybody.
Right.
You know, so regardless what resort you start at, you're still gonna have a good experience. You just have to, you know, deal with the people. So, like, let me ask you this: you have any special skills that you use to get people to trust you initially, like when you meet them?
Oh, I like that. That's a good question. So when I was working at Westgate, right? Because you know Marriott, my tour is different. So I did more of a full version tour at Westgate. So what I would do, like trust, like every you know, well, I'm not gonna say everybody, like especially someone starting in timeshare, trust, need help, and hurry. I know that for a fact. Like that's anybody will tell you, as long you're not even breaking it down, just if you can gauge yourself, your own presentation, and know when you gain each one, you will be better off. So like for example, like in the beginning of my tour, I'm not saying everybody did this, but I would go straight to the model. Nice to meet you. Let's go straight to the model.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And you know, I've had people critique me, and people were telling me, but I was closing 30%. You know, 35%. I was doing really good when I remember. I remember from 2012 when we came back from COVID, I would assume everybody had a great year that year because everybody was trying to spend money. But I wrote almost $3 million in that course of that year just doing this process, and that was just going straight to the model. And I would do something called acronyms for family, occupation, recreation. So in my head, it was like by the time I got back from the model, I would make sure I have 4 down. 4 had to be down. If I didn't have 4 down, I spent more time.
Yeah.
I would take them to another model. Just because if I talk about your family, I talk about what you do for a work, and if I talk about what you like to do for recreation, I'm gonna find out of those 3 things something that can create common ground that you're gonna want to at least give me a chance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're gonna at least want to be open to hearing what I got to tell you.
Yeah.
So that, and then when I got back, then it started need. All right, so now you're giving me the chance. Now let's see what you need. You know what I mean? What do you want in life? What do you want? Where do you want to go? How do you want to spend it? Is this, you own this? You know what I mean? Is this your end all be all? Is this what you want to retire one day? And then from need, let me help you. Let's hurry it along. So that was my process.
So you said one thing that I caught, and I want to make sure the viewers catch it too. You said you would go to the model, do your acronyms, basically get in some, I guess your little warm up or mini discovery or whatever the case may be. And if you don't have what you need, if you didn't get the information that you need, you take them to another model and continue until you get the information that you need. So I guess the question would be, how long is your discovery?
For the most part, for most families, it wouldn't be too long because it was like I would walk to, when the villa first came out, the one across the street. I walked. I didn't take the golf cart. I just walked, and by the time I walked back, right, where are you from? And that was when another good thing in the beginning of Timeshare, like what I'd spend a lot of time doing, because in order to be successful in an industry that, you have to put in the time and work, right? You got to practice certain things. So I would study specific states and see what was important to that state, and I would try to talk to the owner about, I was there.
Yeah.
And when I go on vacation, I try to visit those places so I can create another my wife is from Ohio, and I loved Ohio because they always bought. Ohio was one of my favorite. If you're from Ohio, you're purchasing. Yeah. So I was, have you ever heard of Mr. Heroes? Oh yeah, that's that sandwich spot. My wife always brings it down, even if she packs it up and. Even if she has to freeze it, she brings it down, and I'm trying to get to Ohio, but it's like, that spot is good. So I don't know, something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, commonality.
But in terms of the model, right? People are always in a rush. No, not all the time would I go to I would have to gauge. Obviously, there were scenarios where not always I can do it. But if I'm on the right track, and if I have a golf cart and I'm doing it, I can squeeze it in, then I would do it. Because it would only be detrimental for me, because if I don't have a deal, if I don't do that, then I don't have a deal. You know what I mean? Because I'm taking them upstairs. I'm gonna ask them I'm gonna try to create a need, but they don't fully trust me. Then I know early in the process that if I don't get a deal, there's a percentage of that because I didn't get to where I needed to be in the beginning. I didn't cross the bridge from trust to need.
Well, how long should someone's discovery be?
15 to 20 minutes.
15 to 20 minutes, they should be able to ask the necessary questions that they need to get the information that they need to move forward. 15 to 20
minutes. Because now any more than that, then I can take them to another model. But most likely, if it's not going to be a deal at the end, they're going to start time closing you. So it's like if there's certain people that are just dry, you know what I mean? There's certain people that there's certain people that's very hard to level with, you know what I'm saying? But it's like I try to remind some people when they're with me, listen, man, I'm human like you. You know what I mean? I'm here. At the end of the day, I'm here for you. As much I appreciate your time. I thank you for being here. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing too. Like I used to in the beginning, I used to have confrontations with people. But then I learned that's not. You gotta control your emotions. Yeah. Because if you just say something that your emotions tell you to say, you can tell your TO, I told him. I told him was good, right? But if you told him was good, then you got the deal. Who's really, if the best victory is if they disrespect you, get it. I remember, this is a great story. Logan, remember Logan Dillman, right? I had a family from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. let's just say my ethnicity and who I was as a person, they weren't feeling me, right? And so I came off as, guys, I mean, I'm take it, this is what you have. I'm doing the pitch. I'm like, and then I told Logan, and I say, listen, they've been really condescending to me. So what I want you to do is I want you to come to the table and insult me. Tell me, you didn't do that. Let's go. Get off the table. And then Logan comes to the table. He's like, so, yeah, Logan, I acted like, yeah, Logan, I went over everything. I told him, what's going on. He's like, yeah, but you missed this. You know what? I'll have a discussion with you. Just go to the office. Go. And the guy literally goes, ha ha. He told you. I had anger in my eyes. Yeah. But I held it. I went in the office. Logan comes in with credit card ID.
Nice. Oh, wow.
And I was like, who really has the last laugh? You know what I mean? Who has the last laugh?
Laughing to the bank.
Yeah, what? So that's the way I see that. Ever since then, it was like, control your emotions, because getting paid is more better than being angry.
Well, speaking about that, I mean, there's a dance, right? Let's talk about the dance. How important is the dance? The dance between you and the TO, the manager.
I'm starting to learn, like, in an industry where it's starting to become normal to where you're different with different TOs. Like, it's just this rotational system. I've been noticing it's becoming more of a standardized practice, right?
Really?
Yeah, even at Marriott. So, like, but then again, it's important to, like, suck up your pride and get to know your TO.
Right. Because
it's only detrimental to you if you don't do that. Because if I don't force myself to like my TO, it's just the TO is only, because here, let me say this, right? And this was the one thing about Westgate and Marriott that's been really different for me, and I think why I've been doing as well as I have been doing, because I only have 3 TOs, right? And I highly like all 3 of those TOs. When I know they go to the table, they have full trust in me that they know that I did what I needed to do. So when they tell me at the end of the table, hey, I'm not saying like a pat on the back, like, if they know I didn't do something to get the deal, they're like, hey, listen, we might have missed this. That's constructive criticism. All right, I need to reflect. I need to fix that. Mm-hmm. But it's like, the dance, if I have an ill thing with the TO, I need to be able to rectify that. So then I can feel like, okay, you're giving me the right advice. You're not coming from a point of arrogance.
Right.
Right? When I was working at Westgate, we had 10 TOs, right? So, sometimes I felt like maybe, when I talked to a TO, maybe they didn't understand me and my dance like I would, like, because I killed it with Kayla, I killed it with Marie, I killed it with certain TOs, and then when I work with certain TOs, it's like, did you do this right?
Right.
So it's coming at, what did you do wrong? So I for me, it's like I can always grow and I can always get, but I'm open to criticism. So like, but at the same time, like, every time I get to know a TO, and then the dance is like, because if as a TO, if you come to the table and you're like, you already feel a certain type of way about me, or you have this like, oh, I'm working with this person, how is that gonna be beneficial to you, knowing that I hit what I needed to hit, so that when you hit what you hit, we're all on the same team.
Right.
So, but yeah, so when it comes to the dance, I think it's one of the most important. Whether you're on a rotational system or not, just knowing your coworkers and understanding them is so important.
And some TOs also, like how you said at one job you had 10 TOs. Well, yeah, some TOs, let's say you got a deal or 2 with them, so they're excited, they're happy to work with you. But then there's some TOs, they never got a deal with you before, they never made money with you before, so they already feel a certain type of way, and they're not going to give you that same love as maybe a TO that you already got money.
You remember
with.
Elias?
Yeah.
First started in the industry, right? And I wanted to be on Elias's team because he had monsters. He had Zach. He had, Matthew Sarah when he was coming up. He had some good reps, right? And when I was first starting, I was like, you know what I got to hang with monsters to be a monster, right? So I remember I was like, Elias, can I join your team? He's like, Bobby, we're full.
Yeah.
Can't take you.
I remember those days.
And I was like,
yeah.
Come on,
like
Elias. It was like, he's like, sorry, Bobby. And I was like, damn, man, I gotta build.
You gotta prove yourself.
Yeah, just because the juice don't come free. You gotta,
right,
you gotta show that you have the rut. But once you learn and start picking up on stuff that's just, my favorite were like nuggets. You know what I mean? Like you can't. But yeah, anyways.
But that was a time when it was different, where you got the managers got to choose who they want to work with and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think now with this whole rotational thing, it helps even the new people get a little chance to work with.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
So you can pick up everything
something.
on the back end. You know
Yeah,
what I mean.
yeah.
You can pick up stuff, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
But you know what the sad part, just to keep it real, is that some TOs are not the greatest managers. I mean, you could TO, but when it comes to managing people, they don't have that skill to deal with people because you have different social styles, different way to handle people. Some people spaz out on people and talk to them reckless.
Right.
And one thing I want to say is, like, you really don't know who you're dealing with. Like, a person could be working in timeshare but come from a way different background. Just because they suit up and put on a polo shirt don't mean that, you know, you don't understand. Like, you just can't talk to them reckless. And I think some people miss that.
Absolutely. Like, you know, if you're a TO, I got mad respect for you because you did what you got to do. You know what I mean? You had to make it to that point. Mm-hmm. It's just sometimes it's like, you know, when you talk to certain TOs, especially ones that I don't, you know, who, especially like right now, I'm getting to a point. There's certain people that you can even do business on your own, right? Mm-hmm. And you're okay with giving business to certain TOs, but then there's certain TOs. It's like they expect so much of you, and they want to do so much less on the back end. It's like, I have this family. I need a little more work.
Yeah,
you know
I need a second face.
Right. Or this is another thing. I remember, if you didn't make it on teams, right? Mm-hmm. If you were receiving a certain type of if you were just off the wall majority of the time, that TO knows you as a rep they're gonna need to work harder on your tables.
Yeah.
Because they're not seeing first time backs. They're not seeing it can get really. That's the one that So if we're talking about something that could really help benefit new reps, right? When you first make it in, you're not getting these specialty tours because you didn't make these specific teams. You have to know that you're gonna have to grind, and when you have to grind, don't take the criticism of TOs so personal. Mm-hmm. You gotta know that in order to level up and get better tours and not better tours because every tour can be sold, right? But get a better opportunity. You gotta be able to grind through the ones and just face that you're gonna be in that stage where you're gonna feel like you're attacked, but you're gonna make it through. Right. That's the hard truth about it, because there's gonna be people who come in and they're like, damn, this ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? I went through 8 tours and they were all one-day renters and I did everything and the manager's going, she's saying I'm missing this. I'm trying to reinvent the wheel. You just gotta pick up these nuggets and work one step at a time,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's true.
What do you say about getting information from people in the break room? Let's say you gone through 10 tours, you haven't got a deal yet, and you got people in the break room saying, man, say this, man, do it like this. What do you take that information in? Do you say, hey, no, thank you? How do you handle that?
My biggest thing when it comes to information is, like, someone always told me, don't take advice from anybody who's more messed up than you.
Right.
You know what I mean? See where the information's coming from and see what you're getting on the back end. What are you hearing consistently on the back end? I need to think about it. Okay, you need to think about it. So are you giving too much information? You're giving too much information if they got to think about it. Are you keeping your pitch, keep another acronym, keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid.
I'm big on acronyms because I feel like they make your life so much easier when it comes to in an industry that there's so much that you have to pack in. Yeah. You can unpack it with acronyms. Mm-hmm. So keep it simple, stupid. So if you're dealing with someone who's, from Kansas or Illinois and they talk and they're talking like, slow pace, don't talk fast pace with them. Correct. You gotta mirror. You gotta be able to, like, speak their language and keep it simple with people like that. So there's a lot of things that over the years you pick up on, and especially when you're jumping in industry where the turnover can be high. That's why it's so imperative that you sit with the best. Mm-hmm. And you're not. And honestly, people don't like giving out their juice. You gotta.
Why is that?
Yeah. Why is that?
What's funny? There was one person. He's gonna get so mad when he watches this. Andre Creighton.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You don't give out his source.
Oh man, if you know what he would say? Where'd you hear that from?
Yeah.
Where'd you hear that from?
Yeah.
I'm like, Andre, man, what you mean? Where did I hear that from?
Yeah.
I made that stuff up. You didn't make that stuff up. I made that stuff up in 1997.
Yeah. He's gonna play. And it's funny because it's repetitive. Right? We all kind of have the same pool, but everybody wants to say, I made this pitch.
Right.
But so when I was a rep, I got to choose or work with different, and Andre was a TO.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I remember he was a TO
and
too, yeah.
What I didn't like about Dre is that he wouldn't work that hard on my tables because he knew that my main TO was somebody else.
Oh,
He figured I was gonna take that and then go back and share with mine.
Right.
But
he felt like a side piece.
Yeah. But I might have done that, not for nothing. I might have taken that back. So one time he did a pitch on my table, and I like to illustrate. Like when they give me the iPad, fam, I would generate that same pitch on the iPad, make it visual. And he did this rent versus own pitch that he did with it was like a fixed rate versus adjustable rate mortgage, but we did it for rental versus owner.
Right.
And I put that joint in the illustration, and I showed him that I did it, but he was like, "Oh man, you can't be sharing that." But I shout out to Dre.
He's a beast. I have nothing. I love Andre. I learned a lot from Andre. It's just he's just hilarious.
People are very they are possessive. Is the word possessive?
They're very when it comes to that, going back to like what you were saying about like pitches, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like you gotta find out who's in, and you gotta just obviously you can't force those kinds of relationships, right? But you gotta when you just like timeshare, like you have to understand, you have to feel like people need to help you, right? And if you can find a way with the right group to just get in there and understand the knowledge, if they're willing to give you the knowledge, you gotta take that and run with it, because it's like there's so many things that so many nuggets that I picked up that I'm not trying to change my personality,
right?
But I know that if I just tweak certain things, it's gonna have the impact that I need it to have, and for me to do better on that table. You know what I mean? And now it's getting to a point where people are volunteering. It's getting better. When I first started, it wasn't good. That wasn't I remember. Now I'm seeing, even at where I work now at Marriott, people are more open to share knowledge. Well, then again, I do work on a smaller track, so we're more closer. But like being on a big floor, you got to find the people that are doing it right and ask them for see if they're willing to give you the sauce.
Well, let me ask you this: throughout your career, is there anyone in the industry that you can say has helped you or given you tips or helped you along the way? Like, who would you want to give your flowers to? So
when I first started, I would say I got my grind from Fawad. Because Fo, when I first started, he taught me how to grind. Fo was a grinder. He'd take off his glasses, he'd look at him and start rubbing his eyes. It was game over.
I remember that.
He'd take off his glasses, look at him and put it in the light. Is that a smudge right there? And I was like, I would look all the way at the end of the table. I saw him take. I was like, oh, it's about to go down. He's taking off his glasses, But and then I knew, okay, he's about to grind the table. But I would say I got that aspect from Fo, where not to give up, keep, if they give you something, change the subject, talk about something, bring it back, keep going, right? Keep asking for the business. But my turning point was through Johnny Navarro and Jonathan Lindano. Because I never got the opportunity to work with Elias like that. I would always get him on the back end of the table, and it wasn't enough for me to get the information that I needed to make it make sense. Right? When I started working with Johnny Navarro and Lindano, they really broke it down for me and said, boom, you need to start, this is what, it's not saying you're doing it wrong, but you're doing too much here, and you just got to keep it simple. Because the timeshare... So working with them, Johnny's very analytical. Lindano's analytical too, but they're just very they with their craft, they know how to, they when it comes to the need and the help, amazing, right? That's the part, the need part and the help part. They taught me a lot, to where that's where I started taking off. That's where my closing went from 20 to 35%, 30%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where I was doing better.
I've seen it.
And and that's another thing. When I left Westgate, I felt because I'm telling you, it was
a tough decision.
Yeah, it was a tough, because I loved working with everybody. I loved everybody, and and being working with a good group of people, especially who's when you're see the top reps and they're doing something some way and you're learning and you're like, okay, I'm working my way to the top. Right?
Now you're in that circle.
You're in that circle. Now you got to you can be there for years. You just got to maintain, right?
For sure.
So when I started learning from them, it's okay, but I'm at a point, you in timeshare, you make moves based on a point of strength, right? And I felt like I was in a point of strength there that, you know, maybe I aside from the friends and aside from the network, I felt like there was an opportunity for me to grow in a different direction. Because at the end of the day, when I felt like at Westgate, I felt like maybe, you know, just the way it was established that I didn't see I felt like people, when they looked at me, maybe I would stay in my bubble.
Like a plateau?
Yeah, like, you know, in order to break that, I have to break other people's relationships with what they have going on. And I looked at like, am I gonna do that? Yes, it's possible for me to do that, but instead of spending so much time to breaking this plateau, do I have an opportunity to rise at a faster rate and put myself in a scenario where it could be more beneficial to me? And that's the only reason why I made that decision. And I found, and you know, it's when it comes, so if anybody asks me like, oh, would you work? Of course, I would tell you to work at Westgate. It creates monsters. You know, if you can stick it through, and you can make it, and you know, if you can, you know, figure it out, you know, get through that little hurdle, then yeah, you're gonna be a beast. You know, and that's another, like, coming into Marriott. Like, there's been people that have been there for like, what, 15 years. There's one person who used to be a director at another resort. So I'm working with people that have good credentials, and I'm like number 7. You know what I mean? I'm doing really well. You know what I mean? So from where I'm at, so I can see in a circle where there's 100 reps, and I grind, and I'm making it to like top 15.
Yeah.
You know, top 15. Now I'm finding myself in a group of 20. I've escalated.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say. You know,
right.
And I don't want to make it sound like, because again, like, when it comes to Westgate, that was my platform. That's what elevated me, and then I just made a decision that I felt like work balance, family. I feel like that was the move to make.
That was a good move.
Do you feel like these timeshare companies play with the will?
We always have that debate. Take your time.
You know, I can't. As much as people tell me, like, when it comes to the wheel, yeah, there might be some, you know, scenarios when it comes to, like, when I worked at Westgate, right? And I love Loren and I love Ken, but it's like when they went up to the wheel, they did their little whisper. Yeah, honestly, I'd be like, all right, you know, what's going on? But
Finally.
In actuality, the thing I know about Westgate though is there's so many tours. You know what I mean? Well, when I worked there, and I think that's still the case now, because I feel like there'll always be tours there.
Yeah.
That as long as you just consistently follow the process, if you have a process, you're gonna turning all that off is gonna happen. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know, maybe not in the wheel, but in other things, like you know, because the different departments. You know what I mean? You gotta. Without saying too much there, I just feel like you gotta. I'm selling the families, but you got to do more selling than just the families. Absolutely. Is what I'm trying to say. You know?
To get the families.
For
sure. Relationships.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to turn this into that kind of, you know, but but you just got to do your job in various departments.
Got you.
It's like a politician.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah, you got a campaign.
Why should you vote for me?
Hell yeah, man.
Word. So, Rich, man, you got the sold in 60 objection cards right there in front of you.
Oh, yeah. Listen.
You can do the honors and pull those bad boys out.
Listen, if anybody wants to grab one of these sold in 60 objection cards, you can find them on our Instagram page, sold in 60, and you can hit the link in the bio. Every guest gets to get a objection card. So what we do as a tradition is we shuffle the deck. You pick one, and you read the objection for the audience, and then you just tell us how you would probably handle that objection.
I like it.
Yeah. Because we know that in the business, it's like the same old, but for someone just getting in the game, they may not be ready to overcome the objections they may get, and we know that could have been a possible sale. One of the things that I did when I first started that my parents told me was to journal each tour. So when I would journal, I would write down why they didn't buy or why they did buy. But if I see that scenario again, which you are going to see that family again, that same scenario, you'll know how to overcome it or how to sell them again.
100%.
So let's see. So pick anyone and let us know what you got. Oh, shoot. I hate those people.
I follow Dave Ramsey. Debt free is our goal. You know what? Even though this one's funny to me because it's like you follow Dave Ramsey. You know, there's a lot of people say I got accountant, financial advisors, but at the end of the day, when it comes to a financial advisor, there's some things that are just completely facts, right? Like, you know, you could tell someone else about your finances, but the bottom line is you're on vacation. Are you gonna stop vacationing?
No.
You're not. Are you gonna just? You have a wife, 2 kids. You're just gonna say, you know what, I'm done traveling.
Nope.
It's not a possibility, right? So if you know that's not the case, then the inevitable future is the fact that you will travel. So if that is the inevitable future, at the end of the day, if you could have something with deeded real estate attached to it, which one would you choose?
Deeded.
Right. So and another thing, kitchen, living room, washer, and dryer. I could go on about the whole timeshare thing, but when it comes down to our debt free, you have debt. The debt is the money that you're going to spend regardless. Is the money that you are the next 10 years. If and that was another thing. I know they did like 30 years, 30 vacations, but I would sometimes even just say 10 years, 10 vacations, because the loan is 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're giving me $5,000 a year and I take 10 years, $50,000 you're gonna spend anyways for nothing. So this whole Dave Ramsey debt-free lifestyle, it's not gonna make a difference in regards to the money you're already spending.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Love it for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And by the way, Dave is in a hot seat right now anyway. So
Yeah.
Dave,
For sure.
Dave got some lawsuits on him, but he was pushing a resale
Resale company.
Yeah, but Dave Ramsey, he's a salesman too. You know what I mean? Everybody's
For
selling
sure.
something. You know?
and the question is, does Dave Ramsey vacation?
vacation. Yes, he
Right.
does.
He has the vacation. What?
Nah,
That's
yo.
funny. You know, another thing to piggyback on what you were saying too about the loan is for 10 years. You know, and it's also about not what you say, but how you say it sometimes too.
Right.
So when I'm in front of a family and, you know, we're comparing what they're going to spend on vacation, staying in the hotels for the next 10 years, or what they could be spending, you know, or what they could be saving coming to the ownership side, who's to say that, you know, it would take them 10 years to pay off the loan, you know? So you're not necessarily comparing 10 to 10. This could be comparing 10 to 3 or 10 to 2 years, you know?
It just depends on how much value you've built in it.
For sure.
Because if you know, where I would want to see that objection is in the pencil pitch.
Yeah,
I don't want to see that shit in the back end.
Oh,
Hell no.
yeah.
That was another thing. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I remember
Sure.
if you had brought an objection to the back end
It's over
and a
with.
manager got that objection, especially if you knew, that's the conversation they're having with Nixon. Yeah, this guy's not getting it.
Yeah, for sure.
He's not getting it because the last 5 managers, they're all saying the same thing. Yeah. He's getting the same objection in the back end. He's not doing anything to solve it in the beginning.
Not covering it.
He's not covering it, and it's coming up over and over.
For sure. That's
Damn,
it.
there was a question I have. Damn, I can't remember what the top of my head now. I lost track. It was something about, was it resales? Oh, well.
About like buying back the timeshare.
No. Oh, okay. There was all right. So I know that some resorts have referral programs. Does Marriott have any referral program? Or anything
Yeah,
like that?
but their referral program is a little different. They give you like, okay, so like the equivalent. Let me put it this way: like 1,000 points, 1,000 club points, or $500 off your maintenance, or $1,000. But it's membership based. So there's levels to Marriott. You got owner, you got select, you got executive, you have presidential and titanium. So based on which level you are determines the compensation you'll get. So if you're pitching, oh, I want you to be a presidential owner, then you can tie in the referral program based on that level.
Got you.
So it's like a tool you can use to explain to families, oh, the referrals that you're making are more beneficial at this level.
At this level, then
Yeah. So because then now you're getting $2,000 off your maintenance at titanium, you know what I mean, versus $1,000 at owner.
Gotcha.
You know, so it's a little different.
And I would imagine the higher level you are maybe plays into maybe you getting more points or a better discount when it comes to booking hotels and things like that with the Marriott or whatever.
Once you make it to executive, it's 25, 30, and 30%. So so if you, let's say, like, I'll give you an example. You come to I know the scale. Not everybody understands the scale, but let me keep it simple. 3,000 club points, you want to go to Hawaii. Mm-hmm. If you're at executive, you get 25% off. So that's 750 club points less.
Yeah.
So if for in order to be executive, you need 7,000 club points. So if you do 25% of 7,000 and do all your trips that way, that's a whole nother week somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's how you can show like, you're getting more time for the money.
What's the biggest deal you've ever written, and what's the biggest deal you've ever heard another sales rep write?
There's a woman at in my track. Her name is Lolita, and she just like how she the thing about Marriott, which is cool, is you really work with your owners. Like the owners, if you choose to see your owners, and you're someone who can take care of your owners and handle that, then it's like one of those things that you can do, right? She just talks to her owners, and she did I think she just made someone double chairman. So it was like 15,000 club points, another 15,000 club points.
What is 15,000 club points from?
$250,000.
$250,000?
Yeah, so
$250,000. $250,000
so
points.
Her thing was you have two kids, you want double chairman for each kid.
Of course. Which kids don't you like?
Right.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So it was,
wow.
But she can say that. She earned the right to say that to those people because she actually helps her owners. So she had books someone, and they bring her gifts and stuff. So it's, that's nice. When you have that type of bond, you can do that, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yo, there's one thing I'll never forget. I got to bring it up. Maybe you can refresh my memory. I can't remember what it was, but it was something that was in the script in the Westgate thing. We was going over it in the class, and you was like, "You could say that."
Oh yeah.
What was it?
Because we're talking about rent, right? You use, rent, sell. Because,
in the pencil pitch.
Yeah, because you have the right to use, will, rent, and I remember because I was coming from Orange Lake, and Orange Lake, they're very suit and tie, they're very
corporate.
tight about certain things. And being a new rep there, because I worked there before making the transition to the owner's department, and I was there for a year. And when I was there, it was like, and everybody kept to their own. So I didn't have that the group that I had to ask questions. Yeah. So I didn't know what I could or couldn't say. So I always felt scrutinized for using certain things.
Got you.
So I was like, I can't say that. And then when I came to your class, you were like, you not saying you were saying to say it, but you were going over like, we can say that
with emphasis. Bump that. I was like, yeah, you can say that. You can say it with your chest.
That's funny.
Word.
Oh man.
But listen, man.
I remember that.
I am very proud of you. I've seen your growth. I've seen your path. I've seen your success. I've seen you. All that you talking that 30%, 35%. I've seen it. You have your own lane. You did your thing, and I know when you was making a move, it was like a hard decision. But even making that move was a level up in life. I think that was dope for you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, man. It's all about every resort you work at. It has to make sense based on your life work balance. You know what I mean? So I'm very fortunate to have worked at Westgate. You know what I mean? I'm very fortunate to meet the people that have made, because honestly, all the pieces, all the nuggets that I've acquired over the years have just made it more beneficial for me. And I come into Marriott, and the director talks to me, and it's like, and I'm seeing some of the people who work there, and it's like they're good, but I'm coming, I'm still coming. I'm still I'm going, I'm new, and I'm and because of the knowledge I've gained from the people that I've worked with is what I mean.
Sure.
So yeah, I can appreciate that.
Word. All right, man. Well, we appreciate you stopping by, man. We appreciate you sharing that knowledge with us. Hopefully, maybe in the next 6 months, less than a year, you can come back and visit us again, give us an update on what's going on. I noticed you had the big ring on your finger. I didn't want to ask, is that the famous $1 million ring, or is?
Oh yeah, I knew I was coming in here. I know I'm not there, anymore. But I figured that since I'm doing the podcast, I might as well bust it open.
Got you. Yeah. That thing is shining.
Yeah,
show it to the camera. Show it to that camera.
Oh yeah, this is what's it called?
Put it in that one. Let me see.
Which one?
Camera. Yeah.
Yeah. What's it called? You know how You know how everybody does their different things to their rings when they get them. Yeah. I had to get the baguettes. The baguettes.
That's funny.
Yeah, this is the flag, man. Usually when you go to another resort and they see that you got this, they know you put in work.
Yeah, right. So it's like, for me now, I just it's nice to have something in especially my the jewelry box. I look at it and I'm like,
Just a little inspiration for those that may be getting into business or been in the business for a minute. You've made money, you've stacked money, you've spent money. But a lot of people use timeshare as a stepping stool to do other things. Anything in the future you think you got planned?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I know outside of this, like I always feel like, you know, you don't have to be an athlete, but I feel like athletes make really good reps just because they have that discipline. They, you know, and outside of this, I do the mixed martial arts. So like my stepping stool is I'm 5-0 as a amateur MMA fighter. Nice. I'm going into my first professional fight January, February, and the money that I'm making from timeshare is helping with my marketing, is helping with, like, you know, because you can't just take fight. You have to, like, the world we live in now, people are being very creative with how they establish their brand. And what do I want my brand to be, right? And in order to, you know, invest in my brand, Westgate has given me, Westgate, Marriott, they've all, you know, being in the industry, it's given me the opportunity to invest into my brand the right way so I can elevate to a different platform. That's
what's up. Well, we want to be invited.
Oh, yeah, you already know. It's gonna, anywhere January, February, it's going down. You know what I mean? The Butcher.
For sure.
Can we, we, you know, we have a few sponsors that are consistent with our show. Can either Sold in 60, Factual Films, or Richdale School of Real Estate, or any of our sponsors sponsor you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to have it on my shorts.
We would love that.
Factual. Boom.
I seen you in the ring. I already know how you get down.
Absolutely. You
He's
know
got
what
a
I'm
mean
saying?
combo. I kind of can read it when it's coming because it's like, oh, it's about to fall.
Yeah, no. You got to, listen, you always got to give them a little, they got to think they're winning, but then you got to take it away. Take away. You got to take it away.
That's what's up, man. We appreciate you pulling up. This is Sold in 60. Y'all. This is episode 29. You got your man Junaid the Butcher on the show. That was dope.
And we out just like that.
Peace.